Second, be vocal. Express your concerns.
No.
Pay attention.
No.
If you come across lessons you don't like,
No.
make your dissatisfaction known. Let the teacher know, let the principal know, and if necessary, let the school board know.
So basically just be a massive Karen. If you're sitting back drinking your keg and you notice that your fucking child is learning something like about the world, being round and whatnot, voice your concerns. Take it to the principal, the teacher. Go and tell it to the janitor for all I care. Make your concerns known, Karen. I mean, patriots. So PragerU dropped this video called Why I Stopped Teaching. Oh no. Somebody stopped teaching in a classroom? Oh God, no. Let's go ahead and find out what happens.
Question: why would a teacher who loves teaching quit her job? Answer:
Because she's a conservative loser who gets triggered when people learn anything other than conservative values.
her job is no longer about teaching. For 15 years, I taught ESL, English as a Second Language, to middle and high school students. The last 5 years were at public schools in Salinas, California. Salinas has suffered for a long time with a gang problem. Students are just as likely to fall victim to the temptations of gang life as they are to graduate from high school. If that sounds like a challenge, it was exactly the challenge I was looking for. It's why I became an educator, to help put kids, especially teenagers, on a good path in life. And
okay, noble start. That's nice, you know? You're walking home one day and you see somebody graffitied on the wall, you know, fuck, come, suck my dick, LOL. And you're like, you know what? Someone needs to put a stop to this. This gang problem cannot go on. These delinquents need guidance. All right. Noble cause thus far. 41 seconds in. Thank you, PragerU. You haven't made me want to end my life yet.
And that's what I tried to do. I taught my students that if they worked hard and accepted responsibility for their actions, they would succeed. That their race didn't define them. That they should respect the police.
Oh, no.
That there are only two sexes. That
Okay, so, you know, we all knew where this was going, right? Which is, you know, I was a teacher, but now liberals want their stuff taught, so now I'm mad about it kind of shit. Let's go back. It's so predictable.
I taught my students that if they worked hard and accepted responsibility for their actions, they would succeed.
Okay, so here we go. That's true. Working hard and working towards your goals can help you succeed. That's true. It doesn't guarantee that you will succeed. I don't think that's what she was necessarily saying. However, if we want to have this conversation be a nuanced conversation, which I know is something that is shocking to be taking place in academia, then you also need to talk about how certain people, based on certain characteristics about themselves, might not have the same opportunities even if they do work hard.
Their race didn't define them.
Oh my God, I hate these arguments so much. They're literally the 2016 arguments. I used to make these arguments when I was a little conservatard. The whole, yeah, your race and sexuality doesn't define you, heard her. Okay, listen, when people say their race doesn't define you, it's true. Your race is not what defines you. But unfortunately, right now, there exists a thing called systemic racism, where black people are not always treated the same as white people. And this happens on a statistically significant level. So it's not that race is the only thing that matters and it's the only thing that defines you. It's that if you are black, you might not have the same opportunities as the white person, even if you are working hard, taking responsibility and dedicating yourself. And the variable there is race. It's not that hard to understand.
Them. That they should respect the police.
Why are you teaching your students to respect the police? What? Huh? Now remember, class, when you see a police officer, you curtsy, okay? You take your hat off like at prayer. Huh? Why would you teach your students to respect the police?
That there are only two sexes.
So, I don't even know what the two sexes thing is supposed to mean. Like, most people recognize that there are, you know, mainly two sexes, but when people say that sex is bimodal, all they mean is that there is a large spectrum and there are many different factors that play a role in someone's sex. It's not as simple as like chromosomes, hormones, and vagina. You're a woman, haha, that's your sex. There's a lot more at play here. But I mean, we primarily still recognize two sexes. Now there is such a thing as intersex, but this is why people say that sex is bimodal, because there tends to be one side here, and then everybody is usually somewhere in the middle, kind of on this spectrum. Just, make up the pretend argument so that you can look smart debunking it.
That communism leads to misery. But in the
Okay. I can agree with that. I ain't down with the commies, okay?
But in the last few years, they were hearing something different in their other classes. That their race was their destiny. That the police were out to get them. That their sexual identity is a personal choice.
What?
That socialism is compassionate. Communism isn't so bad, and capitalism is cruel.
Oh my God, where do we even want to start? First of all, their race was their destiny. Really? Is that really what they were saying? Or were they explaining how your race can play a significant role in your destiny? You know that's true, right? Due to systemic racism, a lot of black people are disproportionately in a situation where they are more likely to either go to prison or be, searched by the police, or not get the job that they want because their name sounds kind of ethnic. So no, your race is not in fact your destiny, but your race can actually influence your destiny. And that's unfortunate. That's a bad thing. That's why people like me care about talking about systemic racism. So stupid point one, communism isn't so bad. This is super vague. I don't know what you mean. Are you talking about like the theory of communism and why on paper it seems like it could work? Are you talking about socialism? Are you like, which version of communism here? Too vague to understand, so we'll just write this one off as a dumb fuck take also. The police were out to get them. Again, not sure why educators are talking so much about the police. That's a little strange with me, or to me. But okay, the police were out to get them. If they were saying that, that would be wrong. What it is that police are disproportionately affecting black people when it comes to police violence and police brutality. It's another systemic racism problem. It's not that hard to understand. Socialism is compassionate. In loose and theoretical terms, you could argue that it derives from a place of compassion because you want to see everybody on the equal playing field economically. But again, this is super vague, and something tells me that this either didn't happen or you're reducing it to absurdity. And then the last one, we get a nice big doozy at the end. Sexual identity is a personal choice. Yup. Why are all the conservatives saying this now? Am I missing something? Was I not informed in my recent LibCuck meeting where I meet up with a bunch of non-binary people to drink soy lattes? Michael Knowles, now PragerU. Who the fuck is saying sexual identity is a personal choice? Huh? Okay, yeah, again, just, and then everybody clapped. Right, sure, lady, you're totally telling the truth. I believe you. Smile and wave.
Many of my students, especially the ones who had recently come to America, rejected these depressing lessons. They knew what they had fled. They wanted to embrace their new country and its values.
So it's okay when politics are taught to kids as long as it's not politics you disagree with? Is this what I'm hearing from PragerU right here? Uh-oh, but now look, guys, they all have the American flags. But now they are holding Black Lives Matter flags. Oh, God, no, please. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do.
Country and its values. But other students completely bought into it. I needed to know why.
No, you don't need to know why, because if you could very easily figure out why if you, went on google.com. Like, what? But okay, I really like how...
And its values. But other students...
I like how the graphic shows them holding Black Lives Matter flags, and that means that the students were buying into communism and sexual identity as a choice? You realize Black Lives Matter works to draw attention to systemic racism, which is very real, has been demonstrated time and time again, and is now an empirical fact. It's a reality. So I'm not sure why you're associating Black Lives Matter with like communism and all this other bullshit when the main purpose of the movement, Black Lives Matter at least, was to draw attention to systemic racism.
Students completely bought into it. I needed to know why. So
I needed to know why. Of course, I wasn't going to actually listen to what anybody said until I found a conservative answer that would make sense for PragerU so that I could get my big fat oil billionaire paycheck.
I needed to know why. So I dove into the school's ethnic studies curriculum, the source of so many toxic ideas. I found classroom activities such as a privilege quiz, where students would compare and contrast their gender, race, class, and sexual orientation with those of their classmates. I found another exercise.
Wait, that's it? You're not going to show us why that's bad? Yeah, you know, sorry, lady, but the way that the world works is some people have privilege. Yeah, if you're cis and another person's trans, you have a level of privilege there. If you're white and someone else is black, you have a level of privilege as a white person. Yeah. Class? Come on, that so carries privilege. Sexual orientation? Yeah, when you have people that are disproportionately kicked out of their homes for being gay, and then a society that more or less encourages being straight or views that as the normal, then as a straight person, you have a level of privilege there. A lot of the times with this privilege stuff, simply the existence of people that are more, that are misfortunate as compared to you translates that you then have a level of privilege.
I found another exercise, which involved conducting a mock trial to charge various persons implicated in genocide against Native Californians. In order.
Wait, are we supposed to just like accept that this is bad? They're talking about something that exists like privilege. Now they're talking about wrongs that were done to the natives in California. I haven't even done any research on this whatsoever, but I'm pretty sure I could easily talk out of my ass and say, how did, us good old-fashioned colonizers, how did we treat the natives at the time? Let's see. Let me stroke my beard about this one. Pretty sure it was shitty. Why is this a bad thing? Also, lady, are you this dumb that you didn't know your own fucking curriculum?
Against Native Californians, in order to create a social justice counter-narrative. None of this.
Wait, that's it? That's all they talked about? Okay, let's look it up. The California genocide was the killing of thousands of indigenous peoples of California by United States government agents and private citizens in the 19th century. It began following the American conquest of California from Mexico and the influx of settlers due to the California Gold Rush, which accelerated the decline of the indigenous population of California. This was between 1846 and 1873. It estimated that non-Indians killed between 9,000 and 16,000 California natives. Hundreds to thousands were additionally starved or worked to death. Acts of enslavement, kidnapping, rape, child separation, and displacement were widespread. These acts were encouraged, tolerated, and carried out by state authorities. God forbid your students learn about this. This is the SJW narrative. It's always really funny when these chuckle fucks take this approach because they're basically saying, It's anti-American to tell people that what America did was bad. No, unless you are willing to acknowledge that America or being American is associated with these things. If you attack the genocide that was done on Native Americans in California, you're not attacking America unless you have such a bad and low opinion of America that you think, well, genocide, rape, murder, that's just America for you. Wave my flag, sing the special song, put my fucking hand on my heart. Boop, boop, boop.
Against Native Californians in order to create a social justice counter-narrative. None of this should be surprising because the guiding principle of the curriculum was to critique white supremacy, racism, anti-blackness, patriarchy, capitalism, and other forms of power and oppression.
So you realize that even if those things aren't entirely bad, like I still consider myself a capitalist, it's still good to have mental exercises in which you critique capitalism. Like, capitalism is still far from perfect. Capitalism still has problems. I talk all the time about how capitalism needs way more regulation. And we can also look at the Scandinavian countries where, again, they have capitalism, but they have stronger social safety nets. And guess what? They also score the highest consistently with the happiest people of those areas. They score consistently the highest when we're talking about who's happiest in the world. And it's capitalist. There can be problems with capitalism, but it can still be the best option we have right now. But then again, my bad, I'm sorry. I recognize that it's not as popular to get Twitter likes if you're, actually willing to be nuanced.
Reject these radical ideas, especially teachers with the wrong skin color, risk being labeled racist or white supremacist.
Wait, with the wrong skin color? What? What? Okay, I feel like it would probably be a bad idea to label somebody as a racist or white supremacist for not liking BLM. Off of that alone, they need to tell me why they don't like BLM. Right? You need to give me a reason. If it's, well, I disagree with this, that, and the other thing, okay, maybe it's not a big deal. But if it's like, black people just need to do better. They just need to take responsibility, goddammit. Then I'm probably going to fucking call you racist, whether you're white or black, because the logical follow through of what you are saying there is that black people are lazy and lack responsibility, and it's a fault on them, and it's just a character flaw of black people. So that I would say, that's racist. But simply saying like, well, I'm against the idea of communism. I'm not actually that big of a fan of what's going on right now with BLM. I wouldn't just call you racist. I would say, okay, why? Why are you not a fan of BLM? Well, let's talk about it. And then I would use that conversation to determine whether or not I would call you a racist.
Putting their jobs and careers on the line. In June 2020, I addressed the Salinas School Board. I told them that allowing critical race theory and Black Lives Matter indoctrination in the classroom is unbalanced.
Oh, wow. Too political, although you were totally fine talking about respecting police and the people waving the American flags and loving America. Dude, it's so transparent. PragerU, they're the same fuckwits that always are whining about the indoctrination of our children, and then they go and make their own children series where they teach a bunch of America bullshit and like biased stuff to kids. Allowing critical race theory and Black Lives Matter indoctrination in the classroom. What does this mean? Like, what does this mean? What is Black Lives Matter indoctrination? I love the vague language. That way all the drunk boomer conservatives can be like, yeah, yeah, us damn whites, we never did nothing wrong. Yeah, honey, give me another beer, goddammit. But then, like, when you actually think about it, like, okay, what part of critical race theory are you alleging was taught? What is Black Lives Matter indoctrination? If you're talking about, say, systemic racism in the police force, that's not indoctrination, boo. That's just you being dumb and refusing to acknowledge the world around you. And I don't care if you're offended by academia. Then again, maybe you shouldn't have been a teacher.
Unbalanced, too political, and will only do harm. In response, the board president, a professor of ethnic studies at a local college, called me anti-people of color.
I mean, that's probably reductionist, and I think if that happened, which, so far all this video feels like a lie, but if that actually happened, probably not the best choice of words, yeah, but like, if you are advocating against teaching kids, for example, about systemic racism, or the way that black people face unique challenges as opposed to white people, then yeah, effectively, what you are talking about is being anti-black or anti-people of color. Still, I wouldn't go with that choice of words, but this also sounds like it's being intentionally vague.
The board president, a professor of ethnic studies at a local college, called me anti-people of color. I am people of color. I'm half Jamaican. In fact, before the board meeting, the district...
What? Why do we care? Wait, hold on, what? Whoa. Teacher Jane... I thought that race didn't define you. I thought your race didn't define you. I thought your race was not your destiny. Why are you invoking your race as a defense? Are you using your race as some kind of an identity? Are you using your race as some kind of foundation to who you are? I thought that race is it's not your identity. It's just something about yourself. You shouldn't take pride in your race. It's not your destiny. Why are you then invoking your race as some kind of a defense? It's so fucking funny. I am people of color. Lady, do you need to stop, get down from the PragerU video and go visit a doctor? Because if that's what you said...
People of color. I am people of color.
I am people of color? Okay, yeah. Petition to get this lady kicked off PragerU and make her go attend a psychological evaluation, because it sounds like you might be schizophrenic. You mean you are a person of color. You're not people of color. We are legion. We are many people of color. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
I'm half Jamaican. In fact, before the board meeting, the district had sent me a gift just for being black. A mask bearing the message,
Black. Oh, right. It's so bad to recognize your race until you can bring up your race as a defense for your dumb fuck arguments. Okay. They don't even understand what they're doing. Or maybe they do, but they recognize that their viewers are going to be way too dumb to actually figure this out. Yeah, if you're complaining about idpol, but then invoking idpol to defend yourself, you're either stupid or just, you're blinded by the dollar signs to actually make any kind of coherent argument.
Educators matter, an I love being black sticker, and an African greeting that acknowledged the God in me. An obsession with race and gender has taken root in our educational system.
Except when you can invoke your race as defense. Sounds like you're a little obsessed with your race. What makes you think that you being a half Jamaican black people of all the colors couldn't simultaneously mean that you hold different political views? Huh? Who cares if you're a people of color? You can still be advocating for policies or against social movements that are in effect anti-people of color. You know?
It's the weed that's rapidly overtaking the garden. What can we do to get rid of it? First, advocate for academic
What can we do to get rid of it? I mean, if you're like me, you don't really want to get rid of that weed. Haha. Gang, gang.
Rapidly overtaking the garden. What can we do to get rid of it? First, advocate for academic transparency. Demand that your school district's lessons and materials be made accessible online so you can see what your child is being taught. That may not...
Oh my God. Okay, here's the thing. I can see this from both the perspectives. You either have the side of things, like, would I want to know what my kid is learning? Would I want to look online to see the curriculum? I'm trying to think if that's something that I would actually want to do. But I can understand why other parents maybe would want there to be some transparency there. But then on the flip side, I can see the complete opposite end of this where, you get all the stupid fuck Neanderthal conservative parents that are like, I heard that my child is being taught that gay people are real. That's a sin against the almighty divine God, and you, Teacher Jane, are getting fucking fired. I mean, how long would it be till then, By the way, while I'm at it, let me tell you a couple boomer jokes, starting with, I hate my wife. Ha! Like, you would literally get people like that bitching, whining, and complaining about literally anything. I mean, look at this. You have this lady whining about a privilege quiz. Like, I've said it before, but parents do have a right in their children's education, I think. Like, they can choose, I guess, not to put them at the school, and they should have a say in it. They should be able to voice any kind of concern. But there has to be a line, because parents also don't have the right to deprive their children of knowledge, of the facts of the matter based upon the best scientific research we have available right now. If you're some brain-dead loser who believes that 6,000 years ago, Sky Daddy magically spat the earth into existence, then you don't get to barge into class and whine and demand that your student be kept away from learning about evolution, which is the most sound scientific thing we have that gives an explainer as to why we are here. Like, I'm sorry, why do you get to pick a safe space for your kid? Why are you trying to put your kid in an echo chamber?
Protect you from an individual woke teacher, principal, or school board, but it will make them all think twice before adding radical material into the curriculum.
Radical material. I love how they just smuggle this shit in. All right, now do Hinduism. I don't understand enough about Hinduism, okay? I love how they just smuggle that bullshit in. Holy shit. These radical ideas, like that Black Lives Matter. By the way, I'm a person of color, so I can't be racist.
Second, be vocal. Express your concerns.
No.
Pay attention.
No.
If you come across lessons you don't like, Make your dissatisfaction known. Let the teacher know, let the principal know, and if necessary, let the school board know.
So basically just be a massive Karen. If you're sitting back drinking your keg and you notice that your fucking child is learning something like about the world, being around and whatnot, voice your concerns. Take it to the principal, the teacher. Fuck, go and tell it to the janitor for all I care. Make your concerns known, Karen. Patriots.
Speaking of school boards, consider getting on one yourself. This is a time for action. Third, take an active role in your child's education.
No.
Don't send your kids to public school and expect everything to turn out fine. Supplement their...
Okay, now, what she said so far is somewhat correct. Yeah, you shouldn't just be like, have fun, school. You're going to want to teach your kids certain things as well. But if we're talking about like academic level things, you should trust the school to teach your child that enough so that they can function in society.
studies with lessons that counter the indoctrination they might be getting in school. Look into other options, such as private or charter schools that share your values.
What?
Or, if you can do it, homeschool.
No.
It's easier than you think.
Oh my God. The fact you just said it's easier than you think is a massive self-own, by the way. Because it turns out it's actually not very easy to give your children an adequate education. I'm sorry. That's not like a easy little thing you do. Well, I looked up the YouTube video. I got the DIY homeschool curriculum ready to go. I'll print it out. No. It's harder than you think, okay? Not it's easier than you think. It's harder than you think. Second of all, why the fuck is this lady just encouraging them to send their child to a echo chamber? For the crowd that whines so constantly about the indoctrination of children, they sure seem so set on making sure that their child is indoctrinated. Okay, so when we say indoctrinating, it has a negative connotation, yes. But there's more to it. It doesn't necessarily mean that the belief they're learning is wrong. This is the other thing to understand is you can be indoctrinated into believing something that is true or good. The indoctrination is you're teaching a person or a group, this is the definition, to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. Maybe I'm being a little too dramatic here, pause for a dramatic effect and whatnot, but if you're teaching if you're teaching a person or a group of people, especially kids who are already they have a lot of questions, they don't have a lot of knowledge or access to that knowledge yet, to accept a set of beliefs uncritically, that is the indoctrination. You could just as easily sit kids down and teach them to accept something like, evolution. Evolution is what is true. If anybody says anything otherwise, then I want you to disassociate from them. We will complain to the school. That would be ridiculous. You should understand what evolution is and why I believe, I guess, because I can't really tell them what to believe, but why I believe this to be the correct approach is because we form our opinions based on evidence. And there's a lot of evidence for evolution. So, okay. If you give them an understanding of that thing and explain why it makes sense for them to believe it while also delivering it in a manner that doesn't make them afraid to question it or maybe want to believe something else, that's fine. The indoctrination, though, is what PragerU right here is advocating for, which is just pick up your kids anytime they're learning anything like about BLM, which is like, come on, you really? And just pack them up and ship them off to a fucking charter school. Are you, you unironically have to be stupid, right? You realize that it's probably going to be worse for a child to be shipped off to a goddamn charter school or even go to a private school where they're just suddenly removed from all of their friends. That's probably going to do more harm on a lot of their mental well-being than learning about BLM. Oh, God forbid. Lastly, what little confidence do these PragerU conservatards have in children? Look at this level of confidence or trust they have. Really? You don't think that your child is able to process what BLM is? This is what one side says about it. This is what the other side says about it. You don't think that you're mature enough or that your kid is able to generally have an understanding. I mean, if they're in school, especially based on what she was teaching, it sounded like it's going to be a little higher than kindergarten. Really? Trust your kid. But that's the problem with indoctrination, right? Is because you have, at this point, indoctrinated your child with the conservative or the Christian narrative. And so you've trained them to accept this thing uncritically. And when they're trained to think about it uncritically, any kind of criticism can break that entire thing down. And that's why it's these fucks who are always trying to isolate their kids and literally indoctrinate them by the very textbook definition.
Than you think. I will always be an educator. I don't think there's a more important job. My goals as a teacher are the same.
So there's nothing more important than that. But you're willing to throw it all away because you disagreed with some of the curriculum?
As they were 15 years ago. It's the goals of the public educational system that have changed. That's why I can no longer be a part of it. I'm Kali Fontanilla, founder of Exodus Institute for Prager University.
Exodus Institute? Oh, God, we need to look this person up. Oh, she's this person. Teacher blows the whistle on critical race theory in California schools. All right, let's see. Let's find out what they were teaching and see if there was anything that we can critique or think that it was okay. Is this it right here? Slides from the lesson plans. All right, I'm not reading this entire article. We're going to just look at the fucking pictures, okay? Critical race theory definition. What are some benefits at looking at things through the critical race theory? Okay. What is the default? Why would people be against it? Oh my God, this is what they're taking issue with already. Highlights discrimination and offers alternative perspective and policies that are based on placing race and impartial intersections with other areas of difference, like ethnicity, language, gender, sexual orientation, social class, at the center of the remedies for change in the current power relations. I don't know if maybe my lefty biased soy is kicking in here, but this sounds like one of the most balanced, unbiased definitions that I've literally ever heard of critical race theory. If we're going to talk about how fucking complicated it is, what critical race theory is, this is not a bad thing. They're literally explaining what it's defined as and how it could serve as a benefit. Also, very convenient. You don't show the slide determining why people would be so against it, because it's almost like you realize that that would actually be teaching people what somebody believes and letting them make their own goddamn decision, rather than you fuckwits acting like you're Stalin ruling over the plebs. Analyze the policy through a critical race theory framework. What do you think is the intended purpose of this school's policy? What is the school trying to achieve? What's the school policy? My guess is it's something like, everybody here is inclusive and should be treated the same. Is this it? Really? No. Oh God, no. That's enough to get you in a PragerU video. My faith in humanity has just further declined. I thought it wasn't possible. These two slides, the most non-biased, and this is enough for them to literally cry about it. Damn, I think I'm going to be blowing the whistle on critical race theory next. I'll just go to like a local college and wait till they say something about like, black people are a minority in this country. And then I would just record it and be like, look, shocking video shows critical race theory being taught, indoctrinating the students. And then maybe I'll get like a knock on my door and it'll be one of the Coke bros. I guess one of them's dead. So it'd be the one and only Coke bro offering me some fucking cash, a big wad of it, to make a PragerU video. I'd be like, well, grifter's gonna grift. Gotta do what I gotta do. This is a really depressing video. She taught middle and high school students. Oh my God. Okay, that puts a whole new perspective on what she was saying also, is that it wasn't like kindergartners. They're people mature enough to start understanding complex perspectives from both sides. Conservatives once again demonstrating that they are in fact the ones interested in indoctrinating students, yet that's what they consistently accuse the left of doing. So desperate. It literally reads like a bad movie script, like a movie that you'd walk out of the theater going, that was a fucking waste of money. It was so predictable. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified when I drop a new video.